Okay, I think this is recording. I wanted to show how I mark areas and what I think may happen to those areas, and just what I look at in very small time frames. So this is pound dollar, and there's no structure to this. It's unplanned, so I don't really know what I'm going to find when I look in. And these points I've marked some time back, so I don't always remember why I've done them. But as I see that big move up, which you saw earlier on the 1 hour, this big move up, I'll go and look and see what these significant points within that are. This one's quite messy, but if I take this out just so you can see what I've actually done, is I will look at where the move starts and how it progresses along there. So the significant thing for me is it moves here, and it stops and it has a think, and then it just moves away again. And the point that it stops and has a think is here, which is where that was marked in. I marked in this high down to there. And you can see as price comes forwards that it bounces off this high-low feature. So this is the lower part of this is what gets called a flag limit, which I mark with this black line, and the bit that makes the flag limit itself. So this is the extreme of the flag limit, the lower limit of it. This is the flag limit itself. The feature that creates that flag limit is this. As you move forwards in time, we haven't got back to there yet, but you can see on some others how price reacts to these. You'll find that it reacts to the top, and it will react in some way to the bottom. And the bottom, if it gets broken, becomes significant. For now, we can just take this out, and I just watch as price progresses along here, and where you have standalone significant points. So this point here is standalone, but it doesn't immediately take on any significance. What I mean by that is, as it comes up, as well as having this obvious thing to its left here, which kind of countermands a lot of the strength that you'd expect this to have, this actual point in here, if you look at the high there, the high is 4158, and the low of this one is 4172. So this doesn't actually get near that. As you can see if I zoom in. So, which isolates this point in my mind. So this cannot be a flag limit here, even though prices come up and it looks like it started flagging, because this has no connection to this. So in my mind, looking back from the top of what you perceive to be a flag, which is this part here, so the flag pole here, flag there, if you look back, this flag only exists as far as it's connected to something that's before it. So to my mind, as you come back down, this is the last part. This is standalone here. So this is actually the flag limit. So this was a rally base rally, but it's not until here where things actually start to flag, and that's where I would mark in there. And then this is where it gets broken down, making this from here to here the FTR. This only becomes an FTR once this point is then subsequently broken downwards. This is the 1 minute, of course, so what kind of significance does that have? Not a huge amount. Does this work? Yes, it does, because you could take a short there and it comes down here, but you're not really looking for standalone flags like this to work to any great degree. You're looking for these features where you're already in this case, supply. So you're looking for a reason to go short, and this would be a reason to go short inside some larger reason, which I think we know about. So let me just take this out. And again, just watching along, that's a point in time that's sat by itself. For the same reason, this is a point in time, and I like this one because it's then respected here. So you get the little point, it moves away, it comes back, it says yes, this is good, and off it goes. And you're looking for something. This is a significant point when it gets broken downwards. Likewise up here, significant when it gets, if it gets broken, and on and on. And that's how I mark these as time goes by, and they become of more importance as you approach a higher time frame supply zone, which I don't think I have any marked in here at the moment. So you just track it as it moves up like this. And you'll see if you go into the 1 minute, as price moves away here, it does make some of these. So you'll see it's worth looking inside this one, I think. So you have this pole up and it starts to flag here. Off it goes, and then the actual pole and then the pause that creates the flag limit is here. This is where momentum ends, as some say. Mark the bottom of that. There you go, and you see that it reacts nicely here and carries on. Zoom out. Yeah, there's another one here, so it comes up, it pauses, off it goes again. In this case it breaks it, and it breaks it down to this, which is the next area down, and this is why you're looking for flags that are sizable, so that when they get broken, it just immediately, this is a target for a break of this, and it just immediately goes there. It's pointless to even kind of look for things like that to trade. It's not going to help you out. That's why you want something of this size, even then. As we move on and on, you get this mess here. I think this is after hours, all this stuff actually, after hours trading. And points that can be significant is where all this mess, suddenly you get the open and it moves away from this, and quite often you'll see when it comes back down to this area where it's moved in, you'll get something happening. So again, this looks really messy, but if you look up here, I mean, I don't know if this is in higher time frame supply, I suspect it might be, but you get this really good move up like this, there we go, and it starts to flag from that point there. So it comes up, and then you can see that each of these points is a reaction to the point before, point before, point before, which also makes this compression, by the way, but that's a different thing. Yeah, so on here, also there you can see that this could be considered part of a flag limit because it stops price here. But the best ones, when price gets back to it, it then makes another high past the previous high. So it's saying yes, this is a good solid point. Whereas here it just reacts, comes up, and then drops again. It's not so significant. It's not something that's as important, I don't think. But in case of this one, it comes up, flags, and then goes up, and it goes up, and up. So worth noting what happens here when it comes past there, and looking at the source of this break. So it moves down from there, breaks this, comes back to that source, and then it drops off. So that's trading a 1 minute trade based on a 1 minute feature, which is not from what I see the way to go. You want to find something higher time frame and then use this stuff in a lower time frame to determine where you want to trade. Don't know how far up we got there. Oh, just to here. So moving further along, you'll see these points develop again here, move up, pause, move up, and it comes back down to this move and then carries on again. But these things, like I say, are only really of greater significance when they're somewhere that you should be looking for something to happen anyway. So you see this one I've marked in earlier. Here it comes up, it comes back to it, it kind of comes back here, comes back there. So this one is significant. You see it even held it up from that big drop on the open today, I think, yeah. Was that today? Yeah, I think this was the open this morning. This big drop. So we can go back and look at what this one was, see if it's significantly any different to any others. It probably isn't. They don't always have, they aren't determinately different to any others. I mean, this is not enormously different to this one, other than the fact that once it got here, it did continue to move further up. And it broke this, so it's an uptrend essentially. So you can take this out because it's not significant right now for us to leave that in. There we go, and I can project that little black line forwards in time. So you see how it looks like that's not really important until you realize that it's the full zone, the blue zone that I took out. It actually is important as well, and this comes right to it. Now I'm not going to ascribe any reason to this, it's just something that is observable, and that's enough for me. So what happens when that gets broken? So let me just note that line so you know which one we're talking about. So here's the line. So it gets broken there, and price comes back up, and as soon as price comes down below this point, this now becomes the failure to return, the next zone, if you like. So that has happened, so this becomes the next zone, this part here, where you're looking for reasons to go short. And you can see that there's, I'm going to take it out again because we don't really want that in there. And I marked this here, this blue zone, because looking in closer within that FTR, what I see is the drive up, and then it starts to flag here. So I'm going to look and see the significant point where this gets broken. So it makes another FTR on a lower time frame right here, which creates the zone that I'm going to look for shorts. But I'm not going to look for them until price has been down below this, because of course it has been, because that's how I created this full zone we were looking at. So we go forwards in time. I'll make this a color we can determine. We can spot it more easily. Hope this is recording. I know I'm rambling, but it might be useful for someone. Yeah, so as you move forward in time, knowing that this is a significant area within a significant point that was created by something that looked insignificant but wasn't in the past, because you went down to 1 minute and you determined where it was and you saw this is an important point. I don't know why it's important, it just is. I don't need any more story than that. And you come along, and yes, you can place, if you're convinced by this stuff and you're very confident with it, then you have a small zone that you can put, you could touch trade this here, and your stop would have to go above, here, in fact, above this FTR, and any fake out above, which could be up in here. Fake out is too subjective a term, I don't really, anyway. Yep, so you could look in here to see a place to take a short. So, well, you have this 1, 2, 3 drive, people would call it. You could look in here, you could look at reasons on tick charts to take a short, You can wait for a flag to be broken. So to break a flag, you need to have a pole, and you need to have the flag forming, and you need to see that flag broken. So the poles with flag formings here are, here's a pole, and then the flag starts to form. And you might look for another one happening within here. So it has to be a discrete point. So again, there's a pole, and then you can see a flag forming there. Pole gets broken, but really it's all too small in here. You want to have something that's made by almost like, I don't want to use the word structure, but that you see Price making shapes as opposed to just making messy little lines. There's no such thing as noise or mess in markets. It's just something happening on a time frame you're not watching. But in the case of the 1 minute chart, I can see this. I mean, anyone can see this, right? You've got this 1, 2, 3. So people might think there's 3 parts to this, but actually there's not 3 parts. There's 4. There's a 4th here, and maybe there's something I have no idea about that exists in there, which actually creates these distinct points that I'm looking at that I have no knowledge of whatsoever. But doesn't matter. We've got this point here, and if you wanted to mark in the actual bounds of that, it would be this right there, and time should throw that forward. So there we go. So and you see it moves away, comes back, hits it, and then from this point hits it and goes higher, which makes me think, yes, this is a real flag limit here. It's not some part of my imagination. This is a good thing. And then you look for that getting broken, and exactly as we did previously, you look for it getting broken, and it gets broken there, and then price comes back up, and when it comes back up and then goes down again, this is your flag limit. This gets called, but this is the start of the next zone. So this gets called a flag limit, that gets called a flag limit. Don't let that confuse you. They both are. They're different things, but operate in the same way. And then price comes back to that. There you go. You take your short, and if you want to touch trade that, I mean, I wouldn't have any reason to get in there, but we're down in this time frame, so if you're looking at a 1 minute chart and you want to take an entry here, you need to go down in a lower time frame and see what's going on inside this. And that's your where would the entry be? So that was your that's the one that the flag limit I just drew in, and when it comes back to that, it immediately drops, and then it drops down to the start of the pole up, and that's you're not getting all of this move. If you had taken from here, then you've got, well, what's that? Maybe 7 or 8 to 1. Probably less because it'll be up here, so 5 to 1 perhaps. And then it'd have to be above here, so that's like 1, and then maybe this is 3 or 4 to 1 here as well. But it's I'm not saying it's low risk, but it's got a good probability of working. Yeah, so that's it. And there are only a few little concepts in there, and it's all fractal based around those on different time frames. But it's that's kind of how it works. And there's some clues when you see things like compression forming, which say, well, if I see a flag limit forming and I see these things forming, if there's compression to the left of them, that's a good chance that this is going to work, and it's going to work pretty well. It's going to cut right through it. So that's something to watch out for. And then you can go back in time and you can just look along up here and say, well, where's the places that I might also want to look for reasons to go short, or just to enter trades. Because of course, if you don't see any of this stuff, then there's no reason to enter, so you can just ignore that area. And being able to ignore areas is really important for saving you some time. And then you'll see horizontal lines, like you see a horizontal line here. You're like, oh well, that's great, but this sat by itself is probably not significant. You want to know what that is reacted to. So see, I would go back out in time, go like that, and then see if there's something that this is reacted to there that I'd be interested in. In this case, there isn't really, because I'd be interested in what that reacted to, and the trade from that reaction is actually this trade here. So you can see how it just allows you to just go, but don't need to worry about that. I've marked that in, so this is probably a nice area here. What did I see there? Maybe I was just testing something. No, I was just looking to see if this was above there. So again, that's not anything that's particularly fancy in my eyes. And of course there's this big gap here. But what's interesting about this is if there's anything that would be a nice reason to go along here, that it's ignored. I wonder if I go here, yeah, so this goes up, flags, comes down, keeps on going. I just mark this in. I wonder if this is what it reacted to on the other side. Yeah, so here was the first flag limit here, and then that's what it reacted to on the other side there when it came back to that level. I mean, good luck catching these if you can, fantastic, but yeah, I mean, if this is, you can see it comes flying up and it slows down, so maybe you'd be looking for something here. Yes, so you're going to lower time frame, you're going to see flag limit broken, FTR reacts and drops, but yeah, okay. And that's why I've got this marked in here. I've gone looking up here at points that don't seem to have reacted to anything else. So this reacts to that, which reacts to this, which reacts to all of this, which reacts to all of this, and that's what compression is, where you don't have any fresh points. These are all just reactions to the points behind them. So you can expect price would drop fairly rapidly, or through that there's nothing to really stop it. Then as you get up here, you have this point, and this reacts to that point, but that in itself isn't a reaction to anything immediately behind it. I'm not talking about over here, I mean immediately behind it, which to me makes that significant. And sure enough, here it is, it drives higher. Up here, I've got another one there that I've marked in, and then so on until we get, yeah, that's the last, to me that's the last potential flag limit for this. So I've marked in the source where that gets driven down, I've marked in the FTR that happens after it, and you just wait and see what price does when it gets back to those, which it as yet hasn't, because it's down here. Yeah, I think that's more than enough.